In this video, we're going to be looking at the crystalline style and gastric shield of a clam. And we're going to compare it to symbols of Freemasonry. We're going to start out by looking at some pictures of the gastric shield and crystalline style. And I'm going to read a little bit about them from Google. It says, on Google, it says the crystalline style is a rod-shaped organ in some mollusks that rotate to grind food particles and release digestive enzymes. The gastric shield is a chitinous structure within the stomach wall that protects the stomach lining from the abrasive action of the rotating style and also serves as a surface for the release of enzymes, functioning like a mortar and pestle. You'll see these words a lot when you're researching crystalline style. It's a mortar and pestle type action. The crystalline style is the pestle, and the gastric shield is the mortar, or the mortarboard. Okay, we're going to look at some mortarboard images. And when you Google mortarboard masonry symbol, you get a mortarboard is a symbol for academic achievement, but it also has a direct origin as a tool in masonry, a square board used by masons to hold mortar. This academic cap is named for this masonry tool because of its similar flat square shape, a visual connection that ties education to the ancient craft of stone masonry. When you graduate college, you get a degree, and they put a mortarboard on your head. And in many ways, you're like the living pestle. You become a mortarboard and pestle. In many ways, if you're looking for the answers about what Freemasonry is, you should be looking at these two structures, the gastric shield and the crystalline style. In the 1960s in England, there was a magazine that came out called Understanding Science. And this magazine was later turned into an encyclopedia. And you could find this encyclopedia online. And on page 2033 of this encyclopedia, you're going to see an artist's rendering of the crystalline style and gastric shield inside a clam. And this artist's rendering holds so many of the secrets of everything, not only just of Freemasonry, but of life itself. What I'm going to do now is focus on the crystalline style and enlarge it and turn the crystalline style so it's facing northward, upward. So you're looking at the crystalline style. And when you shut off the lights and you look at this image, you're going to see what you're looking at is a lenticular image. While we're studying this picture of the crystalline style, I'm going to read what it says about a lenticular image from Google. It says, a lenticular image is a two-dimensional image that creates an illusion of depth or motion by using a sheet of plastic with tiny convex lenses called lenticules to manipulate how light reflects off an interlaced image. We're going to focus on the crystalline style on the top left corner of the image. And that's where the crystalline style originates from, out of what's called the style sac. And in the top left corner, you're going to see the all-seeing eye. And in many ways, this is the all-seeing eye creating. It's creating against the gastric shield. Inside of the crystalline style and underneath the all-seeing eye is an ape-like creature that lives there. And in many ways, the arms of the creature are the cilia. And when you look up cilia on Edom Online or any dictionary, you get the eyelashes, hairs which grow from the margins of the eyelid. And you'll see all the cilia because this is the all-seeing eye creating against the shield. I'm hoping you could clearly see this ape-like being And one of the eyes of the ape-like being is covered by the all-seeing eye. When you look closely at this area, this top left area of the crystalline style, you're going to see clear as day the Masonic apron. And the Masonic apron has the all-seeing eye in the center of it. And we're going to look at Masonic aprons right now. So as we're looking at Masonic aprons with the all-seeing eye, I'm just going to read a little bit about Masonic aprons from Google. It says, a Masonic apron is a garment representing honor and a commitment to moral character, originally derived from the aprons worn by stonemasons. New members receive a plain white lambskin apron symbolizing purity and innocence. As a Freemason progresses through degrees or takes on officer roles, their apron may gain blue and silver decorations or even more elaborate ornamentation to signify achievements and service. So again, we're going to focus back on the image of the ape with the Masonic apron. And really, this is why it's called an apron, because it really is an apron. It's an apron. It's the ape with an apron over its eye. And you can clearly see that. And it's made of lambskin. And most of these Masonic aprons were made of lambskin. And if you look a little bit further down to your left, you'll see the lamb. Okay, right there is the lamb. I'll circle it. We're going to focus now on the crystalline style. And the crystalline style is rotated by that cilia, or the eyelashes. And take a look at the head of the crystalline style. And you'll see an ape-like being there. And if you turn it the opposite way, you're going to see a female ape-like being. I'm hoping you could clearly see this ape-like creature that's coming out of the crystalline style and in many ways is rubbing against the gastric shield. One head of the creature is male, and if you flip it the other way, it's a female ape. And this is the Reebus. When you Google Reebus, you get Reebus refers to the alchemical process and symbol of the divine hermaphrodite, the result of the magnum opus that unifies opposing qualities like spirit and matter, male and female, to achieve oneness and perfection. The more you read about the Reebus, the more it's like the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon are being created here. I'm going to focus back on the Masonic apron for a second. And this is above the ape and the apron. There's a glow that is coming out of the all-seeing eye. And this is where the numbers or the degrees come from. So if you turn the image one way, you'll get one number, or if you turn it the other way, you'll get another. And one of those numbers is the 33. A way to validate that this is where the 33 comes from in Freemasonry is to look at the Salem cross. The Salem cross, in many ways, is another symbol of the 33rd degree. And the reason is because this is a lenticular image. And when you turn the image one way, you'll get the Salem cross. And when you turn it another way, you'll get the 33. This brilliant light that's coming out of the all-seeing eye that's creating this 33 is, I believe, related to ether. And if you look up ether on like Wikipedia, it says, according to ancient and medieval science, ether or aether, also known as the fifth element or quintessence, is the material that fills the region of the universe beyond the terrestrial sphere. The concept of ether was used in several theories to explain several natural phenomena, such as the propagation of light and gravity. And if you compare ether and the symbols of ether to arsenic, there's almost a direct relation there. When you research the word arsenic, and I hope you do, you'll see a lot of incredible words for this. And one of them was called Zarna. And Zarna means golden, or Zarnic, which means gold-colored. And if you look at the word arsenic, it really has the word scenic in it, and scenery. Just take a second out and look up scenery on Edom Online. It says decoration of a theater stage, disposition and succession of scenes in a play. Earlier, scenery, meaning a landscape or view, general appearance of a place considered as a pictorial scene. So I believe this arsenic or this energy creates scenes in the afterlife. Okay, we're going to focus on another important symbol of Freemasonry, and that's the square and compass, or it's also called square and compasses. And we'll go to Wikipedia, and it says the square and compasses, or more accurately, a square and a set of compasses joined, is the single most identifiable symbol of Freemasonry. Both the square and compasses are architects' tools and are used in Masonic ritual as emblems to teach symbolic lessons. I'm just going to take a moment out and compare the square and compasses of Freemasonry with a pantograph. And a pantograph, according to Merriam-Webster, is an instrument for copying something. So again, it's a duplication process is a pantograph. Up to now, we looked at the inside of a clam, the crystalline style and the gastric shield. Now we're going to look kind of on the outside of the clam. And the clam I'm going to be focusing on now is a shipworm, or it's also called a teredo clam. I'm going to turn to Wikipedia for a quick overview of teredo, which are the shipworms. And it says teredo is a genus of highly modified saltwater clams which bore in wood and live within the tunnels they create. They are commonly known as shipworms. However, they are not worms, but marine bivalve mollusks. So here's pictures of the teredo or shipworms. Now I'm going to focus on the valves of the clam. And the valves look very much like the square and compasses of Freemasonry. And we'll read about the valves on Google. It says the valves of a teredo clam, commonly known as a shipworm, are highly specialized to function as a wood-boring tool. Unlike the large protective shells of typical clams, the teredo's valves are small and found at the anterior front end of its elongated worm-like body. So here's side by side the teredo clam's valves with the square and compasses of Freemasonry, and you'll see it's pretty much a direct match. And we're talking more of the fact that this is a pantograph. The mouth is like a pantograph. A duplication process is going on with this animal. Many times when you're looking at images of the square and compasses of Freemasonry, you're going to see a G in the center of the square and compasses. We're going to Google and read about this G in Freemasonry. And it says, in Freemasonry, the letter G typically represents both God and geometry. It serves as a reminder for Masons to live their lives in the presence of God, the great architect of the universe, and to strive for excellence, as geometry is considered the foundation of architecture and the noblest of sciences. We're going to take an up-close look inside the teredo clam, in between the valves or the square and compasses of the teredo clam, you're going to see a G-shaped being. And this is called the foot of the clam. When you're looking up words for geometry, geometry means measurement of earth. And when you're looking up foot is a unit of measure. So the G is actually the foot of the clam. Essentially, I believe these animals are involved in a duplication process. And what they're really duplicating is human beings. We're going to wrap up this video by looking at G. And G means gamma. And gamma means camel. But when you're researching the word camel, you're going to see it has tremendously important connections to elephant. And elephant really solves the mystery of this duplication process. We're going to take another look at the foot of the clam, the letter G, and it looks very much like an elephant's trunk. We're just going to turn to Edom Online and look up the word trunk. And trunk, one of the meanings of trunk is long snout of an elephant or other animal. Now we're just going to turn our attention and look up the word proboscis on Edom Online. And proboscis means elephant trunk. So if an elephant trunk is the G, and the trunk is a proboscis, that really does solve the mystery of what's going on. And the mystery is proboscis worms. To learn more about proboscis worms, I have other videos on this subject, and I also have a book on Amazon called The Towers of Transformation, the story of 9/11.